Attention, attention, all personnel. Incoming podcast. This is MASH Matters.
It's MASH Matters, the podcast celebrating the greatest television series of all time. I'm here as always. My name is Ryan Patrick, and he is also here as always, Mr. Jeff Maxwell. Hello, Jeff.
And his name is Jeff Maxwell, who is always here with Ryan Patrick on MASH Matters. You cannot get rid of me. No, people have tried many, many times.
No matter how much ointment you use, you cannot get rid of him. Nope.
No amount of ointment will deter my aggressive nature in this podcast business.
Hey, we have a very special guest with us today, and we're just going to jump right in and introduce this gentleman. I'll tell you, I mean, this man has been around the world. He is a pilot. He has been flying for 62 years. There are so many stories. Thankfully, he has written a book called One Helicopter Pilot's Experiences, and you can find a copy of that book on Amazon. We'll put the link to that book in our show notes so you can read it. But why do we have him here today? Because of all the adventures he's had in the air. One chapter of that book is solely focused on his time flying choppers for a little TV show called MASH.
Yeah.
Without further ado, we welcome to MASH Matters, Captain Ray Poss. Hello, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I don't know if I can follow you guys. That was pretty weird.
We get that a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, as he just stated, I flew a helicopter in the movie and followed later on into the series.
May I ask before you go on, how did you get to the movie? Who called you and said, "Hi, Ray, we'd like you to fly in this movie called MASH"? How did that happen?
Well, here we go.
All right.
Every day I would drive from Long Beach, California, where my home was, to Whiteman Air Park, where my office was, San Fernando Valley. And I would drive right by the 20th Century Fox studios. But one day, out of boredom, driving all the time, passing it, I decided to stop and see if they needed a stunt pilot.
Huh.
Upon arrival at studio, I drove onto the parking lot and up to the building and entered unchallenged. I walked down the hall where I found an office for a junior producer called Mr. Mark Evans.
Aha.
Hey, good morning, sir. My name is Ray Poss, and I just checking to see if you need a stunt pilot. And he looked up with me like deer eyes in a headlight and said, "Who are you? How'd you get in here?" And I chuckled and said, "Well, I walked, sir." And he looked at me and said, "Well, walk yourself right back out of here." So with that response, I left the building, and I can remember laughing most of the remaining drive to work. About 2 weeks later, I'm driving by, and I just couldn't resist the temptation. I again arrived at the studios, went in unchallenged, found my way back to his office. This time I said, "Hi, sir, do you need any stunt pilots yet?" And he looked up and said, "You again?" Here, I said, "The last time I walked, today I walked." This time I aggressively said, "Well, walk yourself right out of here." So I guess by now, 4 or 5 weeks have passed. I got to do it one more time.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. So again, entering his office, I walked in and he said, "Where have you been?" I was shocked. "What?" I've been flying, sir, over in Grand Canyon and here and there." "Well, do you still want to be a stunt pilot?" "Well, of course." "Yes, sir." And he stated, "Well, Fox Studios is almost bankrupt. We just finished production of Hello, Dolly, and we're going to make a movie just to keep the crews busy. None of the stars are known actors, sir. The only way we can lose money is if we lose the can once the film's in it." It's called MASH. "Okay, MASH, what's it about?" And he goes, "Well, it takes place in Korea. And would you be able to obtain a Korean vintage helicopter?" And I said, "Sir, I own 3 of them."
Oh, my God.
And he asked,
Wow.
"Let me give him my phone number." So he said he would call me and make arrangements. Of course, I thought, well, that's just another way to tell me, march yourself out of here.
Uh-huh.
I got a phone call from him to my surprise. And when I got the call, he asked if they could come out and paint the helicopter for the movie.
Really?
I said, sure. I had his personal cell phone number, which later became a great friend and the head production man at Fox Studios.
Huh.
And it was a great relationship and kind of funny. He remembered telling me to leave several times, of course. 1970, the day finally came that I was asked to report to Fox Ranch for filming. And at that time, National Helicopters had control of all the stunt and helicopter flying for movies and TV. So 2 gentlemen showed up from National, arriving on the set, and started telling the producer and the director they were making a big mistake by using me as a pilot because I was not a seasoned actor.
Oh, really?
Conversation went on for about 45 minutes. Finally, the director, which was Mr. Altman, turned and said, Ray, can you do this? And I, yes, sir. He said, no problem. Get those 2 men off my set.
Yeah. All right.
They were escorted off the compound. So 4 days we were filming the helicopter scenes for the movie. And on the 4th day, I was given a task of lifting a big net of garbage and dropping it on the character Frank while he was sitting in a Jeep. Well, the Winds in Malibu Canyon, where the Fox Ranch was, is a location that sometimes can be very challenging for any precision flying because of the winds. So after about 2 hours, man, I was getting tired, and I'm going to have to call the office, have them bring me some gas because I just couldn't get over it, pause enough to drop it. So anyway, they called me and he said, Ray, the director said land. So I did. And he came over and said, my God, Ray, winds are terrible, huh? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, I really appreciate all the effort you've given me, and I'm going to give you a $3,000 bonus for that shot.
Hey.
My gosh.
Well,
Well,
it's shot with a crane just off camera. So as you probably know, the motion picture MASH was a big success.
So the one that you were flying, the chopper you were flying in the movie was your own personal chopper.
Yes, all 4 of them.
All of them.
Yeah, I had 2 that were doing the lead-in scene. I'm the second one, okay, because I'm directing where to go. And I had one that was there doing the air-to-air filming, and one of the guys crashed.
Oh,
filming the movie.
Really?
They wrote it into the scene or into the movie, the script.
Oh, wow.
He was one of my pilots that I was trying to give a break. They're not going to do anything hard. He's just going to take off. I'm out doing the air-to-air stuff. And they asked him with a full load, with a stuntman in each litter, to take off, turn, and fly out over the compound. Can you do it? And he went, yeah. Instead of saying not with this wind, he didn't want to say no. So he took off, and of course, he didn't have the power. And down he went into the river and crashed.
Oh, my goodness.
No one got hurt. I totaled my helicopter, but that's why we have insurance.
So you were kind of the lead pilot. Were all of these guys kind of your pilots and your employees, or so to speak, your crew?
Yep.
And how many? So you had 4 other pilots involved? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because on some of the days, the guy couldn't make it, so I'd have to get another.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, in the movie, Don Sullivan and Elliot Gould, they were way out there. And I think it was because their egos were so big. They were stars in their first movie. They just went overboard, and they were real jerks.
You heard it here first.
Now, don't tell nobody.
Okay. Don't worry. Nobody listens to this. It's okay.
Okay, good. So,
And Ray Poss said that. He's the one that said it.
that was in the script, guys. I'm sorry.
You did it very well, as a matter of fact.
Well, anyway, it was fun doing the movie, but the series was so much more fun. When he called me and said, can you do the series? I said, sure. And he goes, well, Ray, you've got to join the Screen Actors Guild. And I went, okay. He said, that'll only cost you about $800. And I went, no way. I'm not going to pay $800 to get a card. And he says, Ray, this was the Mark Evans, the junior producer, said, Ray, listen to me. Do it. I said, no, I'm not going to. Ray, listen to me. You do this, I guarantee it'll come back to you more than tenfold. I guarantee it. He said, look, you have to do it. You are what's called a must join. That's the only way you can join the guild. You can't just go up and say, hey, I want to join SAG. You have to be needed. I had been under Taft-Hartley doing the movie, and you can do 90 days without being a member. But after that, you've got to join. Anyway, I joined it, and listen to me. I still get residual checks.
Bingo.
That was a very good mood. So everybody listening, watch the TV show, okay?
I concur.
Yeah. Anyway, away we went, and we got started. So Gary and I were the only two that came from the movie into the TV series, and we had a great time. In fact, I don't know, are you familiar with the episode 5 O'Clock Charlie?
Oh, very well. Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
Well, I also flew the airplane in that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were 5 o'clock Charlie.
Yeah.
That was you. We saw holding the bomb and throwing it out.
Yeah. In fact, I got one right here.
You've got a bomb there.
You got a bomb there. Oh.
Yeah, it's an old PT-22 airplane, and the owner of the airplane for insurance had to be on board, but he's down on the floor where you can't see him.
Oh, interesting.
I'm coming in and I got all these bombs down between my feet, and I can barely control the plane. And this airplane, not quite this bad, but takes off at 80, cruises at 80, stalls at 79, and max speed is 81. It's a really hard airplane to fly. We're going, and they called me in the air and said, Ray, can you fly more batter? And I, pardon me? Explain more batter. Well, just kind of wiggle the plane a little bit. We'll mess with a sound in the studio.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that and then throwing the bomb out and then getting another one, make another pass, throw the bomb out. And at the end, I'm leaving and I'm going down this canyon and I look up and I don't see a way out of the canyon.
Oh.
And there's no way I'm going to climb out of it.
Oh, no.
I'm going to turn around. So I told the owner, I said, maybe you want to sit up and make sure your seatbelt's on tight because I got a problem.
Maybe you could have dumped him out. It would have been like, give yourself a little lift.
Well, I was young. I didn't. Anyway, when I got down to the end, it turned left and so did I. And we flew out. So
Wow. What a story.
I had no idea that one of the chopper pilots was also doubling as 5 o'clock Charlie. I should have considered that.
Yeah.
Do you have other memories of other episodes that you were involved with?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Adam's Ribs.
I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Adam's Ribs. That was one I had lines in that I spoke.
Oh, really?
Come on, Dan, it's on the way to Seoul.
No room. I gotta take this kid down for x-ray. Unless you want to use the rumble seats.
Okay, you got it. Give me a hand.
Yeah. And, I played the character Dangerous Dan. And every time Radar or anybody needed, they go, get Dan.
Yeah.
That was me.
Huh.
All the guys you see in there and actors, I was doubling them all. One of the actor pilots was a black man. And so they took me to makeup and I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought it was cute. I didn't take it off and I went home with all makeup on. And when I walked in the house, my wife screamed, right? Honey, it's me. Don't worry. So anyway.
Wow.
Another one, they didn't brief me right, but they play games with you out there. By now, this is laid on into the series. And I was supposed to take Alan Alda into a foxhole to perform surgery. And he's in a Santa
suit. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm there and he's going to be lowered down into the foxhole, just as he starts to go down, the stuntman, they set off a big charge. Boom!
Oh.
And it scared the hell out. I thought my helicopter went, sideways, whatever. And then I realized what had happened. I just went, I'll talk to him when I land, guy. Don't do that.
Wow. So you didn't know that was going to happen?
No, they didn't tell me.
Oh,
But
gosh.
they were goofing. You got to do something out of boredom, right?
Well, yeah, risk a guy's life in the helicopter. Sure, shoot a bomb off. Yeah.
McLean Stevens. My God, what a fabulous human being. But
yeah,
he was so funny. Every time they would yell "cut," he would go into an extemporaneous dialogue that had everybody cracking up.
Yeah.
He would do that until they would say, "Okay, guys, hold it down. 3, 2, action." So I come in there one day and I landed and I walk over and the director and everybody standing around with the characters. And he looked at me, the director winked and he goes, "My God, Brad, are you okay?" And I went, yeah. And I caught on real quick and went along with him. He said, "When'd you get out of the hospital?" And I said, 2 days ago. He said, "Man, that crash you were in, that was incredible." Really, really, I guess you're lucky, huh, to live. And I went, yeah, I was. Anyway, Ray, let me introduce you to your guy that's going to be doing the stunt with you. And I went, yes, sir. He introduced me to this kid, and they go to the story that this orphan's in a minefield.
Ah,
And
yes.
take Wayne Rogers, I think,
Mhm.
out, pick up the little guy and take him away.
Mhm.
Well, it was this stunt guy and a midget, and I'm going to lift him up, right?
Uh-huh.
So he says, anyway, Ray, pick him up and then bring him back and set it down. You're all done. Anyway, you can go ahead and brief him, and I'll let you get at it. So I looked at this guy and I said, how long you been a stuntman? He said, I'm not a stuntman. He told me he'd give me $100 if I did this. Oh, okay. Well, look, here's the deal. I'm going to be lifting you up with a cable, and we'll go over there, and you grab hold of the little midget, have him hook onto the ring, and then I'm going to bring you back over here. And he goes, well, how high do you think we'll go? I said, oh, not very high. And he went, okay. And I said, come here a minute. You see here on my stick, this little red button? He said, yeah. If I click that red button, it'll disconnect the cable and, you'll be free. And he went, huh? And I said, yeah, but if I do that, I want you to stay right where you are and lay down, because I'll move the helicopter to the side and land if my engine quits, okay? And he went, okay. So now the director come over and said, Ray, you see the rock on that outcrop up there on the side of the hill? Yeah. I want you to fly up where you're in line with the camera and that rock. That takes me about 100 to 150 feet up. And I went, sure, no problem. So I know these guys are hooked. They're not going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So I take off and I go around, come back, land, move to the side, drop the cable, shut down, and I walk over. And this guy is still standing, hasn't moved, holding the cable and looking up. And I went over and I said, are you okay? Huh? I said, you okay? And he said, yeah. I said, what are you looking at? He said, man, only thing I could think about was that red button. Oh, yeah. Anyway, it all worked out really well. But that was funny. Yeah.
Do you remember, I was on the show. I played a character called Private Igor. He was the Private Igor Straminsky. He was the guy that used to serve all the bad food.
Yeah. Behind the counter.
Yeah, behind in the chow line. Yeah. And
hello.
Oh, hi. Good to see you again.
Long time no see.
Yeah, really. Now, you're such a charming gentleman, and you have so many great stories, and you're so articulate in telling them. Did you ever want to be an actor? And, you were a stunt pilot, but did you ever say, hey, I want to be an actor?
On stage, yes. Not TV or movies, but I was flying over in the Middle East, and I went in one day. I drove by what's called the Doha Players in Doha, Qatar, and it's a really nice theater. There was a lot of cars outside, and I went in. I said, hey, what's going on? And they said, oh, there's a play going on. I said, really? Which one? And it was Jack and the Beanstalk. I said, oh, well, I was maybe interested in coming trying out sometime. And they said, oh, come next week. They have auditions. So I did. I went, and I wound up playing the lead and 4 other parts in the first play.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a ball. Later on, directed 3 or 4. But I truly love getting on stage and performing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Was MASH your first film project?
Yep.
So had you done any stunt work before that?
Nope.
What made you, when you turned in and walked into the studio, what made you want to do that?
I was bored, like I told you. As a senior in high school, there was myself and a couple other, I'll get right back to MASH here in a second, but
yeah,
we drove up to Hollywood on a Friday night. And as we're driving down Hollywood, close to Vine, we heard music coming out of a building. So we parked and went inside. It was packed. And there was 3 guys on the stage, all 3 playing guitar. And I wormed my way up to the stage and started pulling on the guy's pant leg. And he's trying to shake me loose, right? And finally, at a break, he says, what? And I said, man, you need a drummer. And he goes, tell me something I don't know. And I said, I just did. You need a drummer. And he goes, you play drums? I went, yeah. I've never had drumsticks in my hand. And the guy said to me, well, where do you live? And I said, Long Beach. He goes, oh, man, that's perfect. We live in Torrance, California. So that's really close. Give me your phone number and I'll give you a call and we'll set up an audition. So I gave him my phone number. And again, like with the other guy, that's one way to get rid of me, right? My surprise, he called me and he goes, okay, we'll do an audition Tuesday night. So if you can bring your stuff and meet me at my house. And again, I think the guy's going to throw me out. I said, are you kidding me? You have a guitar. I got a full drum set. Now, which one do you think's easier to move? A guitar, drum set. You want to audition, you come to my house. And he went, oh, yeah, you're right. No problem. So they show up. And meanwhile, I played the conga drums and bongo drums. And in high school, I made a ton of them. So I called the local music store and said, hey, would you trade a bunch of congos and bongos for a set? And he goes, bring them down. Well, look. Well, they took them all, and I got a beautiful white pearl full set. Came home, but I still don't know how to play them. I'm only 2 days from audition. And my neighbor showed me how to do the sock cymbal. That's all I could do. But I could do that very well. So here they come, and we got the audition, and they're jamming, and I'm over there. And a doorbell rang, and I went to the door, and it was Danny Florence. Danny Florence and the Champs. They made tequila.
Oh, yeah.
And this must be the place. And I said, who are you? And he goes, Danny Florence. This is my boys here, the Champs. And I said, oh, really? Come on in. They are jamming. And there I am. So finally, Bob Burks, the leader of the group, said, hey, Ray, show us what you got. And I said, hey, give me a break. When I'm ready, you'll know it. And he goes, oh, sorry, Ray, no problem. So I'm just an arrogant kid, right? Bluffing my way, like with MASH. So he said, okay, you're hired, Ray. Be at the theater at 5 o'clock. We go live on the air at 7. I went, are you kidding? I got the job? So, most embarrassing moment of my life, guys. Here we are. We get there, and I'm out there, and I get set up, and we're going to do a rehearsal. And the manager of the group is Mickey Fenn. He's a very renowned drummer.
Yeah. So
Mickey came over, and he goes, hey, Ray, mind if I ask you a question? No, go ahead. How long you played drums? And I said, what time is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. Hey, kid, don't worry about it. We'll get you through this. And I went, well, okay, thanks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The guy comes up, points up to the crowd, and he goes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, here we are, blah, blah, blah. Tonight, we have an addition to the Bob Burks Trio. Okay, drummer boy, take it away. And he points to me. And I froze. And I thought, I've been caught. So I took my sticks, I threw them in the air, switched my snare to tom-tom, gave him a drum solo with my hands. I got a standing ovation. And the guy came over and said, my God, Ray, when you let go, way to go. You guys are so easy.
That's great. You showed up with who you were and did what you do best.
That's wild.
Great. You went in there not knowing how to play the drums. It's good that you didn't go to MASH without knowing how to fly the helicopter. That would have been a little more difficult.
That would have been a challenge.
It would have been.
Yeah. Oh, well. So what do you do?
Do you have memories of the people on MASH, the TV show?
Yeah. Larry Linfield was a great guy. I know one of the times, one of my little niece and nephews at school, they were doing something about MASH, and I was going to go, but hell, nobody knows me, right? So I called the guys. Everybody was busy, and Larry Linfield, I said, hey, buddy, would you mind? He goes, yeah, Ray, when is it? Where is it? I'll go. So he came to the school, and so which was really good.
That's nice.
I went, my wife at the time bought a hardbound cover of MASH and said, can you take this in and have them do the autographs? I went, sure. So I'm sitting there and we're all in a circle and we're going over lines, and I give it to Gary and I said, Gary, can you sign this for my wife? Yeah, give me the book. So he signs it and he goes, I'll pass it around for you. Fine. So it's going around. Alan signed it. Wayne signed it. It gets to Frank, Larry, and he signs it and gives it to Hot Lips. And she goes, what's that? And he goes, it's a book for Ray's wife. Sign it. She goes, I don't have time for that. And he looked at her and he goes, sign it, Hot Lips. she looked at him and went, "Okay, Frank." Yeah. And then Farrell came as he was coming in, taking Wayne Rogers' place. And he came out we were filming, I don't remember what it was, but he came with his wife and 8 kids. I let him crawl all over the helicopter. And, he was just such a nice guy. And we became friends. But Wayne Rogers, not Wayne Rogers, McLean Stevens, I had the helicopter ride concession at Queen Mary, Long Beach, Ports of Call Village, and San Pedro Harbor. And he came down there one day and went for a ride on the helicopter. And of course, everybody recognized him. So everybody's coming down and buying tickets. Little did they know they're flying in the MASH helicopter with the MASH pilot.
Oh, wow.
It'd be no good to tell them, hey, I don't care. And so Matt had his daughter come. I gave her a ride. And he goes, "Ray, thank you so much." I said, "Mac, you have no idea how much money you made me today." And he goes, "Hey, I can come every Sunday if you want." And I said, "Oh, please." So every Sunday he'd come down with his daughter. I'd give her a ride, and everybody would warm and buy tickets. So,
oh, how fun. He was a good guy, really good guy.
Really good.
Yeah.
And Alan Alda, there's not a better person. Alan Alda is a true gift of society, man. He later started directing. Most directors will come to you and me as a pilot or a lighting or whatever it is. They'll get us all together and he'll go, "Okay, what I want you to do is this. What I want you to do that." And Ray with a helicopter just come in and make big right turns around the scene. So you go, "Okay, that's what everybody does." So it's like, well, I guess that's the only way you can do it. And that's what they tell you. Alan would get us all together and say, "Guys, what I want to do is something like this. What I need you to do is tell me the best way to do it."
You're right.
And so each one of us would tell him, and he would say, "That's it. Let's go do it." And it was great, So you'd see different looks on the show when Alan was there. And as an example, guys, I was over at Grand Canyon doing a documentary for the Grand Canyon itself. And we had filmed for 8 days. Everywhere we went, turn right, 360, go around it, go there, go around it. We got all through. Everybody's around, and it's farewell, have a dinner, goodbye. And the director came over and said, "Ray, did you see the film?" And I went, "Yeah." He said, "What'd you think?" And I said, "Really? You want to know?" "Yeah." I said, "It sucked. It's no different than anyone else. All you did was circles." And he said, "Well, what would you do?" And I'd say, "I would film it through the eye of an eagle and soar through the whole canyon." And he raised his hand and said, "Guys, change the plans. We're not going to break. We're going to start shooting again tomorrow." And we went back and reshot the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What wonderful experiences you have had with show business. Because sometimes people go, show business, this bad happened and that bad happened. You are telling some really wonderful stories about humanity and about how people work with each other.
Yeah.
I'm loving hearing all of this. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
So did you go on to work on any other shows or movies after MASH?
Yes, I did quite a few TV. And, it's in a couple of movies, but if you said which ones, I'll go, "Yeah, give me a minute." Because when they go to film, they have a name. And we can call the name of the movie is ABC. But by the time it gets in the can for release, it's XYZ. They've changed many times.
Yeah.
Well, I know my second wife, I never even told her I flew for MASH. She had no clue. Because, what's that going to buy me? A cup of coffee? And so she came home from work one day, working at a bank, and said, she's laughing, "Honey, you'll never guess what my secretary asked me for." And I said, "Okay, I give up." "What?" "She wants your autograph." And I said, "For what?" She said, "Honey, she thinks you were the pilot on MASH." And I said, "I was." "Get out of here." I was. So we'd be sitting watching TV and a movie, and I'm going, "Man, that looks familiar." If a helicopter comes and there it comes, and I said, "That's me." Yeah.
And you're still flying, right?
Absolutely. 82 years old.
Wow.
And I fly a big cargo plane, doing emergency replenishing for like hurricanes and stuff. And like in North Carolina, I was flying every day, taking them in water and generators and crap.
Wow.
When it hit the Bahamas, I don't know. I think it was 3 weeks every day, filling the plane up to max. And yeah.
Gosh, do you have an agent? Does an agent help you, find those films and things, or do you just do it yourself, or do they call you?
I do it myself. Used to, they would call me because they would have my name. If you notice in the credits, they don't have anything in there for helicopter pilot. I don't know about the last 2 years. I did not do the last 2 years. I was in Mexico, Norway, and the Middle East those last 2 years. So, but if I'd have had an agent, yeah, my name would be in the credits.
Yeah, darn right.
No, I don't care.
Yeah,
They paid me, and they still do. That's all I care about.
That's the good part. It's fun to get those checks, huh? I enjoy those myself. Yeah, I was years ago, and this was some years ago, I was fortunate enough to start taking flying lessons, and I loved it. It was with a little Cessna, we go up and they'd take me up and the instructor, and I got kind of close to getting a license, and I loved the process, and I loved aviation, and I loved being up in the air, and I loved the whole thing. Except one day, for some weird, strange reason, we were flying along level flight. It's a little dull every once in a while. You're just flying straight and level. You just kind of go, oh, it's like riding on the freeway where there's nothing there. Yeah. And for some reason, my brain just kind of went to some other place. And I came very, 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 very close to a helicopter. And my instructor went, ah! And he ran away and turned me out of the way. And I went, oh, I kind of said, flying is a great thing, but I don't think it's in my DNA. And I think it's probably safer for myself and everybody in the air and on the ground that I take up golf. So,
you ought to be here in Florida playing golf. I mean,
absolutely.
Myself and the three stepchildren play golf, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great sport. Nothing like flying. And anybody that's listening to this, please do go take lessons if you'd like to, because it's a wonderful thing to do. It's really terrific. It wasn't in my muscle memory, so I thought, it's better I don't do that.
I was a senior in high school and went on a double date to Irvine, California. And, we're riding the boats, paddle boats, and doing whatever. And I only had like $10, and I spent it all. All I had was 50 cents. And so we're leaving to go back home. And I see this helicopter come up from behind the trees, fly a minute and go back down, take off, fly around and go back down. Now, what the heck's that guy doing? So I went over there and I watched. It became obvious he's giving rides. So I went up and said, how much you charge? And he goes, $1. And I said, oh, all I got 50 cents. Could I get a 50-cent ride? And he went, no. If I only give you a short ride, nobody will pay $1. And I went, look, how long are you going to be here? And he said, why? I said, because I'll drive back to Long Beach, get another 50 cents and come back. He said, you really want to go that bad? And I said, yes, sir. I mean, I can't believe this. And he goes, well, stand over there. First time I get one person, I'll take you. So I did, and I tell people it only cost me 50 cents. Wrong. $1,000 later.
Yeah. Is that what got the bug? Did you as a kid want to be up there in the sky and flying things?
That's what got me going. And once I got my license, I was very, very fortunate. As a young, experienced, low-time pilot, I was hired by Southern Airways to teach the Army how to fly helicopters. Because Vietnam started, and they didn't know how to fly them, and they didn't have anybody to teach them. So they hired 350 civilians, and luckily I was one of them. And we taught the Army to fly, and away they went to Vietnam. So
wow! You have to be, trained in fixed wing aircraft and the helicopters. You had to go. No,
you don't have to.
Oh, really?
No, they're completely different. People say, is it harder to fly a helicopter than an airplane? I'll go, well, wait a minute. You drive a car? Yeah, you can fly an airplane. Can you swim? Yeah. Can you tread water? Yeah. I said, okay, to fly a helicopter, I'll give you a test. Go out to the middle of the pool, tread water. I'm going to give you this beach ball. I want you to get up and stand on it and balance. And once you do that, I'll only give you 2 things to juggle. Now, if you can do that, you can fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
I love it.
Every move, one appendage moves, the other four have to make a compensation.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a highly skilled, it's like riding a bike, though, guys. You remember when you fell over, you got up, and then you fell over. But one day you kind of waddled off. You were riding a bike. You weren't the best, but you were riding a bike.
Mhm.
Just like with a helicopter. You're all over the place in just a fraction of a second from death when you're trying to learn how to hover.
Man.
And the instructor keeps saving it. I got it. I got it. I got it. And one day you just pick it up and you hover. And once you are hovering, you never forget it. And then you start learning how to fly, and away you go.
Well, were you trained as a helicopter pilot first or only, or how did you do that?
No, I started airplanes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was only like $30 an hour.
Yep.
Helicopter back then was $75 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like $400 an hour to learn how to fly a helicopter. But again, lucky, right place, right time. There was a company called Southland Hughes Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
They opened up a school in Long Beach called Southland Aviation. And they came up with an idea of a 20-20 club. If you bought 20 hours in a helicopter, it's only $20 an hour. And so, man, I quit the Bell. I went to the Hughes, went ahead and got all my licenses. And every time I'd get a license, like a private helicopter, I got a private airplane. Commercial helicopter, commercial airplane. I went all the way through. But I fly jets, big planes, little planes, helicopters.
Wow.
I fly them all. Only thing I don't have a ticket in is a blimp, but I flew it. Anyway.
Why do you think that comes so naturally to you? Because it didn't come naturally to me, but why do you think it does to you?
Well, the helicopter, of course, being a drummer helped. It did. But I don't know. It's like my stepdaughter just turned 20, and I taught her. She's a private pilot, and she got her private license in 45 days.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
All of the book learning, the written exams, the oral exam, and the flight check. And, and she hated it.
Oh.
She kept saying, Dad, I don't like this. I'm afraid. And I said, of what? She goes, what if something goes wrong? I said, that's why I'm training you. Now she's on the verge. She full ride scholarship on her golf team at college. And she's thinking about being a pilot.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Well, I hope so. Then I get free rides.
There you go.
Then she looked at me and said, well, Dad, when I become a pro golfer, I'll buy you a house. It'll be 2-story. And I said, honey, I don't want a 2-story house. She goes, Dad, it'll have an elevator.
Well, you got that to look forward to then.
Yeah.
Ray, what happened to the MASH helicopters that you used to own?
I sold them.
Did you?
I had them in a company, and I kept building and selling helicopter companies because that's where the money was. And I started a company called Aerial Spotters. I went out and developed techniques on how to herd porpoise and get them in the net. And so I had 27 Bell 47 MASH helicopters.
Oh, wow.
Paid for on different boats. And I sold them all.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
My goodness. Wow, what an amazing thing to go from this movie called MASH and walking into 20th Century Fox and saying, "Hey, buddy, you got any room for me?"
Yeah.
To do that 3 times, and finally it works, and it leads to all of this stuff and all these wonderful experiences. Incredible,
Yeah, I tell you,
amazing.
everybody kept saying, Ray, write a book. And I'm going, yeah, right. Who would read it? And I've heard that for so long. It was about a year and a half ago, sitting at my office. I thought, well, I'll see what I can do. And I started writing. And I think it's got like 25 short stories of different things. MGM Grand Fire Vegas, I was on the rescue on that at both it and the Hilton. And a big rescue up in Alaska. And on and on and on and on and on. I mean, night vision goggles. I was an instructor, still am. I train night vision for airplanes and helicopters. And, it just, doors open. And when they open, you got to go through them.
Yeah. Except I don't think you could just walk into the studio nowadays, though. I think they'd stop you at the gate.
Well, I thought they would too. Can I help you? Yeah, I need to talk to somebody about being a stunt pilot. And they'd go, what?
Yeah.
Make an appointment, kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to read more stories, you can buy a copy of his book. Again, we'll put the link to it in the show notes. It's called One Helicopter Pilot's Experiences by Captain Ray Poss. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I hope that this gives you the credit that was not in the credits at the end of the episodes that you were in.
Well, guys, I tried to warn you in the beginning saying, if I start talking, tell me, shut up.
No.
Ray, you are terrific. I have enjoyed this, and I know our listeners are going to really, really enjoy hearing you and enjoy the stories. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all the things that you did. Thank you for flying everybody on MASH and not crashing.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, here's looking up your old address.
The blue lady of the skies into the sunset, we say aloha, 5 o'clock, Charlie, and return to our duties. Let me remind you, the hospital is open 24 hours for your dining and dancing pleasure.